And there's the sacrifices at the edge of your sleeves. It's at the tip of your fingers. It's palpable, it's tangible, it's obvious. That's what he calls it, bread. My bread, this is my nourishment. The Ishai, my fire. The fire that comes from above, from Hashem. So you take the animal, which is fire, and it becomes part of the fire. Reach nichoichi. It's a smell, a pleasing smell, a pleasing aroma. The question is, firstly, Hashem doesn't have a nose, Hashem doesn't smell, Hashem is not physical. What do you mean smell? And what do you mean pleasant aroma? There's nothing more unpleasant than burning animals. It has a very unpleasant aroma. What do you mean it's not unpleasant? It's not perfume. What do you mean a pleasant aroma? So Rashi says, the pleasant aroma is that I commanded and my wish, my desire was fulfilled. I asked you to bring sacrifices. I asked that sacrifices should be brought, and the sacrifices were brought, and this gives me tremendous pleasure. Question is, that's true of any of the 613 mitzvahs. Why is this unique to sacrifices? I put on tefillin. Hashem asked me to put on tefillin, I put on tefillin. Why? Now, when the mitzvah is physically associated with a certain characteristic trait, that means it's a symptom. That means that also its spiritual counterpart is associated specifically with this mitzvah. The idea that physically, when you burn the animal, there is an aroma, something that you smell, tells us, and the Torah is telling us, that there's a special aroma with this mitzvah more than any other mitzvah, because here you physically, it's associated with a smell, an aroma. Like when you light a candle. Every mitzvah is ner mitzvah. Every mitzvah is a candle. But when the mitzvah is to light a candle, it's special, like a Hanukkah candle, a Shabbos candle, then it's uniquely, this mitzvah is more illuminating than the other mitzvah. It's associated with the idea of a light, physically. That means that it's spiritually and godly, it's much more emphasized here, the idea of a light. So the fact that this mitzvah is associated with an aroma tells us that there's something unique about this mitzvah, more so than any other mitzvah, that this gives Hashem tremendous pleasure. Why? What is it about this mitzvah? The Rebbe explains, look at Rashi, what Rashi says. Rashi says, Amarti, I said, my will was done, as if automatically. Hashem should have said, I commanded you and you listened to me. You did what I asked you to do. You did my will, you fulfilled my wish. No, that's not what he says. He says, I said and it got done. Who did it? I don't know. It just got done. And that's what's unique about this mitzvah more than any other mitzvah. The other mitzvah, Hashem is commanding us, and we do it. We obey His wish. Because there, it's about us. The mitzvot are associated with us. The mitzvot that make sense, rational mitzvot, mitzvot that are testimonial, even the mitzvot that are super rational. It's also for us. It teaches discipline, to train us. When we're commanded, you have to listen. We obey and then we nasiv and ishma. Don't ask any questions. You don't understand. Do as you're told. It's part of training us. The sacrifices has nothing to do with us. Hashem says sacrifice is not about you, it's about me. I asked that sacrifices be brought. And it got done. It's not that you did it. It's not about you. It's about me. I asked you to do something. I asked that something get done because I need it. He says, Karbani, Hashem says, it's my sacrifice. Lachmi, it's my food. Leishai, it's my fire. I need this done. Why? What do you care why? We're married to each other. We have a relationship. I'm asking you, you're doing this for me. You're not doing this for you. It has nothing to do with you. It's for me. Doing something just for the sake of Hashem. This captures more than any other mitzvah the essence of Yiddishkeit, that it's a marriage, it's a relationship. In a relationship, I do things for my spouse, not for me. It means nothing to me. But if it means the world to you, that's all that matters to me. I do it just for you. It's so pure. I get nothing from it. Like this burnt offering. There's nothing in it for the owners, nothing in it for the kohen, nothing. It's only for Hashem. And we do it. So this demonstrates and expresses more so than any other mitzvah the idea of the deep pleasure that this gives to Hashem. And that's why physically there's an aroma. Just to demonstrate that this mitzvah gives Hashem the deepest pleasure. Because it shows in the deepest relationship of Hashem and the Jewish people. Tishmeru, you have to watch, make sure, you have a responsibility, to offer it at its appointed time. Whenever it says appointed time means that it must be brought daily, twice a day, in the morning, in the afternoon, he's going to say, even if you're impure, nothing can stop it. Constant. On Shabbos, you're not allowed to slaughter on Shabbos. No, you have to bring this animal sacrifice on Shabbos. You have to burn it on Shabbos. Everything, moyade, nothing can stop it. Even in impurity. This he spoke to the Jewish people. Now he's telling the Kohanim, V'amarta lahem, and say to them, Zeh ha'yisha, this fire offer, shetakrivu l'Hashem, that you're going to offer to Hashem, kvasim, 2 sheep, b'nei shana, they have to be a year old, 365 days old, tamimim, perfectly healthy, shnayim layoyim, twice a day, 2 for each day, 2 sheep for each day, oilatam, a constant sacrifice. What do you mean constant? It's not constant. It's once in the morning and one in the afternoon. But you see, what does Hashem request from a Jew? Hashem is not asking, he's not asking a lot. He's not telling us, okay, I want you to offer me everything that you have, all your possessions. That's not what Hashem is asking. 1 little sheep, a year old. How much could it cost her? And this was a communal sacrifice. So every Jew participated by giving the half a shekel. But if you do the math, how much of a percentage did each Jew have in each sheep? A tiny, how much did it take out of your pocket? Each sheep, the morning sheep and the afternoon sheep, a fraction. I don't even know if you got a penny in there. Hashem is not asking you, jump off a roof for Hashem, sacrifice everything you have, give me your whole bank account. If you're dedicated to me, Hashem says, I want everything. That's not what Hashem is asking. A little sheep in the morning. Every morning, start out your day. It's a little sheep, but that's how you start out your day. You start out, the first thing you do is make a sacrifice to Hashem. You conclude the day, the afternoon sacrifice. And that's what he calls constant. Because Hashem is looking at your heart. Hashem is not looking, I don't care, I don't want every penny that you have. That's not what I want. But I want all of you. What you do, your dedication, your devotion, I want all of you. And the impression of the sheep in the morning will linger for the whole day, that everything that you have is connected with Hashem. You're thinking about Hashem all day. You're totally devoted and dedicated. And you conclude the day with a sacrifice. So it's Hashem is looking at your heart. He says a sheep, different types of animals. There's the bull that was offered, there's the ram, then there's the sheep. The sheep actually evokes mercy. You know, the way the sheep moos, meh. It's a voice, a pleading voice. It's like pleading. The bull is like a bull in a china shop. The bull, powerful. The goat is a troublemaker. You know, the goat, stubborn like a goat. The goat has a mind of its own. The sheep is very docile, but the sheep, it cries, it's mooing. it's like full of mercy, compassion. He says, and that represents that we have to evoke a sense of mercy and compassion in our own neshama. You know, we're very harsh on ourselves. We're very unforgiving, uncompromising. But the best approaches, this is the approach of Jacob, of Yaakov. You know, the bull represents Avram, the ram represents Yitzchak. By the Akedah was the ram. Avram offered bulls to Hashem. But Yaakov, we find with the sheep, with Lavan, the Sakvasim, he was separated the sheep, and he took all the striped sheep and the brown sheep, because Yaakov represents mercy. And that's an approach, the way we approach prayer and the way we approach ourselves. You have to approach it, you have to realize, you have to have compassion. Prayer is really having compassion in our godly soul. Our godly soul is crying. Our godly soul can never make peace with his plunge from the heavenly peak coming down to the abyss in this coarse, crass, dark, chaotic, confused world. The godly soul is yearning, the godly soul is crying. And if you don't spend time praying, you have to have rachmanis. You know, people are very nice to strangers, but charity begins at home. Why aren't you kind to your own godly soul? I don't have time for my godly soul. I'm busy, I'm doing wonderful things, I'm turning over the whole world upside down. It's very nice. But why is your godly soul any less than the stranger? Why don't you have a little rachmanis? Your godly soul is crying. And you know what? If you don't find time for your godly soul, you don't find time to daven, you don't find time to listen to your godly soul and to spend some time and pay attention, you're going to end up in addiction. You're going to end up addicted. You're going to end up spending so much time with your addictions and trying to recover from your addictions and all the problems that you have. You're not gaining any time. I'm so busy saving the world and doing all these wonderful things. There's no substitute for prayer. There's no substitute for prayer. You have to have rachmanis, like a sheep. You have to have rachmanis in your own godly soul. It just wants a little pay attention to what your godly soul is trying to tell you. Give it some space to breathe. Lend it an ear. It wants to tell you. It wants to listen. It wants to express itself. You're bottling it up. You're not letting it live. You're choking it to death. The godly soul is crying, pleading, let me breathe. I need. And to do that, you have to pray. You need time. You have to focus. You have to take it seriously enough to listen to the language of the godly soul. The whole prayer book is the language of the godly soul. The godly soul is crying to come out, to express itself. We don't give it any space. We don't give it any time. We don't give it any. And no wonder why we're so messed up. The godly soul is not going anywhere. And you're not saving any time. You're going to end up spending your dollars and your money and your time and all foolishness because you didn't have time to pray. If you had time to pray, you wouldn't have any of these problems. You give the space, give the respect and the kindness, compassion. Listen to yourself. Listen to your God. Listen to that inner voice. Allow that inner voice to emerge and sing to Hashem and pray to Hashem and come back to life, to breathe, to feel alive, to feel. Otherwise, you're choking yourself. You're dying. You're dead inside. And if you're dead inside, you can't do any good to anyone else. Whatever you're selling is garbage. You have nothing to sell. You're dead. If you're dead inside, what are you selling? You're a robot. You're a machine. You're not doing anyone any good. You're not bringing any light. You're not bringing any wholesomeness. You're not bringing any truth. You're just superficial, empty, meaningless, apustikeli. Just what's called a blowhole. You're just blowing from yourself. Arrogant. You're so coarse and crass, you don't even realize how coarse and crass you are. That's what happens. It says in the Yom Yom, that's what happens when a Jew doesn't pray. When you don't have the time and the effort and the energy to focus a little on your neshama. Why is your neshama any worse than anyone else? Why do you have rachmanis in the whole world? You're saving the whole world, and you have no rachmanis in your own neshama. You got to be a monster. You got to be something exceptionally cruel. A person who's kind to the whole world, but has no time for himself to daven, to learn. No time. I'm saving the whole world. I don't have a minute to breathe. You're not selfless. There's something very wrong with you. You're not human. You're inhumane. There's no rachmanis. You don't even have a drop of rachmanis. You don't even have an inkling of kindness, of goodness, a little compassion, a little rachmanis. Why is he godly soul any worse than the rest of the world? So it's a kevis, a sheep. And through this oila, we're elevated. Constantly. He says, "Hakeves echad, one sheep, passive abayker." You do in the morning sacrifice. That was the opening sacrifice. So the slaughter was actually done from dawn, the moment of dawn, right by dawn. The offering on the altar, that was done like all the other mitzvot are usually done when the sun rises. And ideally, that's when you should do all the mitzvot, when the sun rises. But nevertheless, the rabbis instituted that the slaughter of the animal was done the first opportunity, which is dawn. But in the morning, when the sun rises, that's when you offer you burn the parts of the animal on the altar. And now, till when could you bring the first offering? It's an argument in the Talmud. The rabbis say till noon. Rabbi Yehuda says only till the end of the fourth hour, till like 10 o'clock in the morning. And the second sheep tasa you should offer bein arbayim, between the two evenings, when the sun starts setting. Afternoon, noon, it's right in the center, right? It rises in the east and it's right in the middle, and then it starts waning. That's the first erev, when it starts, the first shadow, and then you have at the end of the day, when it goes into the night. So in between, that's the time to bring the afternoon sacrifice. That's why we have the two minchas. You have the mincha gedola, like close to 12:30, and then mincha ktana, closer to the evening, 2.5 hours before the evening. So that's the time when you bring the afternoon sacrifice. Basiris a tenth of an ephah, soilus lemincha. See, everything was represented here in the sacrifice. You had the animal life, and now you brought the flour and the oil and the wine, which was from the organic life. You had the salt. Everything had to be salted. That's the inorganic. And then, of course, the kohen who's bringing the sacrifice, that's the human life. So everything was fully represented in the sacrifice. So he says, in addition to the sacrifice, you should add vasiris ephah, a tenth of an ephah, which is around 9 cups, soilus, of very fine flour, lemincha, and this is the amount of food that a regular person would eat. And the man was also this amount. The man that every Jew received every day in the desert was this amount, a tenth of an ephah, which is like 9 cups flour. So that's enough food for a day. You have to mix it with oil. Without oil, it doesn't taste good. You have to add oil, also squeezed oil, but not cooked oil. It doesn't have to be squeezed. It can be ground oil also. If you grind the olives and make oil, but even squeezing, but he's just saying, but it cannot be cooked. You can also cook it and take the oil out. That's not kosher oil. Either the oil was squeezed, or you grind the olives and you get oil. How much? Revi'as ahin, a quarter of a hin. It's 3 lugin, which is around 4 cups. 4 cups of oil. Oilas tamid, this is the daily sacrifice. Hasuya bahar Sinai, that was made at Mount Sinai. L'reach nechoyach, for a pleasing aroma. Ishel Hashem, a fire to Hashem. What's it referring to? What do you mean it was made at Mount Sinai? So we have 2 explanations. Either it means it's referring to when they were camped at Mount Sinai, when they built the tabernacle. So for the first 7 days, they inaugurated the tabernacle. And then on the 8th day, that was the inauguration, but they prepared it for 7 days. They did all these service. So every day they would bring the daily sacrifice. But Rashi says this goes actually on the day before the giving of the Torah. The Torah was given, we're almost at the holiday of Shavuos. The Torah was given on the 6th day of Sivan, according to the rabbis, the majority opinion. On the 5th day of Sivan, Erev, the day before, they offered this sacrifice. And from that time on, they offered it every day, even before the temple was built. So this is unique. This is the only mitzvah that was done before the giving of the Torah. It's a mitzvah, a full-fledged mitzvah. He's connecting the oila that we do today, when there's a temple twice a day, to the oila that was done before Mount Sinai, the day before Mount Sinai. Why are you connecting the mitzvah that we do today, which is after Mount Sinai? Because we do it because God gave it to us at Mount Sinai. You're connecting it that this is the same sacrifice that we did the day before. But from here you see that the day before of a holiday reflects the holiday. So whatever happened on the 5th day of Sivan reflects what happened on the holiday of Sivan, on the 6th day, on Shavuos. So you already had the advantage of the giving of the Torah. So this mitzvah, out of all the mitzvah, this mitzvah, which was the day before, the 5th day of Sivan, Erev Shavuos, Erev the giving of the Torah, already had the advantage and the qualities of the giving of the Torah. So much so that he says here that the daily sacrifice that we do is the exact same daily sacrifice that started and began, and from then on it was constant already the day before the giving of the Torah. As it says in the book of Exodus, he says that you should bring that was the sacrifice. V'niskai, in addition to the oil and the mixed with the flour and the animal, you also added v'niska. You also had a libation. You would pour the vias ahin, a fourth of a hin, which is 3 lugin, which is also 4 cups, and you would pour it. That was a libation. Lakeves echad, to 1 sheep. B'kodesh hasech. You should pour it on the holiness. And the holiness, meaning on the altar. On the altar there were 2 cups on top of the altar, like two sapholin, or two basins. One was for the water libation on the holiday of Sukkot, and one was for the wine every day by the daily sacrifices. and you would pour the libations on the altar, and in the temple in Jerusalem it would go all the way to the bottom, and then it would go all the way deep down inside, underneath the ark, all the way to the foundation, deep down inside. In the tabernacle, when the altar was built on sand, made of sand, it would just pour out and pour out. It would pour down the wall and just reach the ground. What's the idea of, so firstly, which one is he referring to here? Keves ha'echad, which sheep is he referring to? So some say, it's an argument in the Talmud, some say he's referring to the sheep he just mentioned, the last sheep he mentioned, which is the afternoon sheep. And one opinion says no, he's referring to ha'echad, the first sheep that he mentioned, the morning. Question is, what difference does it make? Anyway, he's going to say in the last verse, let's read it, Keves ha'sheni, and the second one, tasa ben aboim, you do in the afternoon, keminchas haboker chaniski tasa, whatever you did in the morning, you do exactly the same thing, the same meal offering, the same wine offering. It's a pleasing order to Hashem. So either way, whatever was done, the same amount and the same ingredients that you used, whatever you did in the morning sacrifice, you did in the afternoon sacrifice. So what's the difference, what's the practical difference is there, what the verse is referring to, the first verse, whether it's referring to the morning sacrifice, which he starts out this paragraph, or he's referring to the last thing he mentioned, which is the afternoon sacrifice. So Taisus says a very simple difference. What if they only have enough for one libation? Which one do you give it to? So that's the argument. If the pasuk is referring to the morning, then that goes number one. That's the first one. If the pasuk is referring to the afternoon, that's the primary one. So then you have to reserve it and save it for the afternoon sacrifice. What's the point of the libation? The point of the libation was the exact opposite of the offering. The offering was offered up, was elevated. Also the mincha, the flour, was offered up, but the libation was poured down. It's the exact opposite. And that's why they were given the mitzvah of libation after the spies. The point of libation was that the whole point of davening, the whole point of this experience, yes, davening is critical and essential, and that's how you come close to Hashem. It's the first thing we do in the morning, and this is what focuses us, and this is what centers us, and this is what connects us, and consciously connects us. And without that, you have nothing. True. But the whole point of davening is what happens after davening. You can't just remain stuck in heaven, elevated. You have to pour down. You have to take that energy and use it to then go ahead and engage and actively bring godliness into the world by doing godly things called mitzvot, by being engaged in the world, involved in the world, and pouring down all that light and all that energy into this world. And the difference between the wine, why is the wine able to do that? The difference between the wine and the bread, the animal is called bread, food, and even the flour, because bread, yes, bread sustains your life, but it only sustains your external life. Wine brings out the internal. Wine reveals the internal, the deeper, what's hidden. Nichnas yayin yotze soid. Wine brings out the pleasure. It's touching a deeper level of life. Not just I'm alive, I'm not dead, I'm alive, healthy, robust. But the wine brings out the deeper depth in life, the hidden, the pleasure, deeper pleasures in life. So when you reach and access the deeper levels, then you have the ability to bring it down into the lowest, because the wine was poured down in the temple. It went all the way deep down, deep down. So wine, actually, the deeper you go, the deeper your connection. Then you feel and sense that the purpose, what Hashem wants of you, what Hashem needs of you, is to bring that and to integrate it and to bring that down and draw it down and reveal it. Then you could reveal Hashem. If Hashem is so revealed to you on the deepest level, then you don't have to run away from the world. You don't have to be elevated from the world. On the contrary, you can bring godliness and bring the reality of Hashem and permeate into everything that you do, even into the mundane, into the lowest level. And then we conclude on the top of page 19, V'shachat oisa hayerech hamizbeach, he shall slaughter it on the north side of the altar, Lifnei Hashem, before Hashem. The animal, the sacrifice, the sheep had to be slaughtered on the north side of the altar, before Hashem, the animal was facing the altar, but you would turn its head around to the west, so it's facing the temple, where Hashem is present in the temple. The Zoruku b'nei Aaron HaKohanim is Dameh, and the sons of Aaron, the Kohanim, would sprinkle his blood, ala mizbeach, on the altar, Saviv, diagonally, it was on two corners, which covered all four walls. He sprinkled it on the northeast corner, which covered the northern wall, because the blood, he would sprinkle it, and the blood would go on each side. He would have to sprinkle it from a vessel. That's one of the reasons he compares it to the offering that was offered by Sinai, which was on the 5th day of Sivan before, because there it says they poured the blood into the vessels, and with the vessels they sprinkled the blood. So that teaches us this law, that it has to be sprinkled with a vessel. You have to receive the blood in the vessel, and then take the vessel and sprinkle it, splash it on the corner of the altar, which then the blood would go on the northern wall and touch the northern wall and touch the eastern wall, and then on the other, diagonally across, the other corner, the southwest corner, so the kohen would stand and throw it to the corner of the wall of the altar, which would then splash, the blood would splash on the south wall and then on the western wall. So all four was surrounded by all four sides. It covered all four sides of the altar. Why on the north? The north represents gevura, strength. Why on the northern wall? On the northern side of the courtyard? Because gevura is not only negative. Gevura doesn't only mean harshness, or gevura also means strength. Every show of life comes from gevura. Blood is vital. It's gevura. It's powerful. That's why it has to be contained in the blood vessels. Otherwise, if it bursts, you can lose your life can leak out. Gevura is intensity. Life is intense. Gevura. You can't create life without warmth. Gevura is warmth, intensity, fire. You can't create life without fire unless there's heat. Between the husband and wife, you can't create life. Life is vitality. It's a good thing. And that's why it's compared to bread. The sacrifice is compared to food, bread. Without food, without bread, if you don't eat, what happens if you fast? If you fast, your body, the blood grows cold. If you fast for long periods of time, your body needs heat. You got to be hot. You got to be warm. Life is warmth. Life is vital. Life is warmth. If there's no life, that's why if a person fasts a lot, your blood is cold. You don't have that same vitality and that same warmth and passion. You just don't have that same energy. So the whole energy of a sacrifice, which is food, which comes from warmth, feel close, to get close to Hashem, it only comes from fire and warmth. So it has to be on the north side. This is positive. The warmth and the vitality and the feeling closer and being on fire. So that was the place of the sacrifice. Anyway, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much to talk about sacrifices, but we'll suffice it for now.